YouTube yet, which is interesting. Off to a hot start. No, it's
We're
just
live on TikTok.
Well, we're not live on YouTube, so we need to get that one
Well,
figured
we're
out.
getting it figured out.
We're getting it figured out. Oh, there we go. Now we're on. There we go.
on?
Look at our faces. Yeah, we're all right here. We're all here. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Fuck.
It's his pink.
You want to do the intro one more time?
No, it's okay. We're all here. Do we have anything on TikTok yet that we can go to?
Hill or Devontae
Uh,
from AJ.
AJ.
Cup.
Honest to God, I think right now, as far as trade targets go, Cooper Kupp's got to be pretty high up there due to the fact that he is getting traded. But if I had to pick between Tyreek Hill or Devontae Adams right now, I'm going to stick with Tyreek Hill.
Well, let's build this up a little bit. You think Cooper Kupp's getting traded?
I do.
The team that would have made the most sense acquired someone today.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think Cooper Kupp goes?
Pittsburgh.
I agree.
Pittsburgh?
I think he's going to wind up in
That's a
Pittsburgh.
great spot for him.
Yeah.
Or
Great.
a fun spot.
They need him.
And I think it's a very solid fit too.
Yeah.
He's the guy that they're missing there. I think that instantly makes them, like, if we're talking Cooper Kupp to Pittsburgh, that instantly makes them, I don't want to say favorite in that division, but we've always thought Pittsburgh was a tad fraudulent. That immediately, to me, if they have that number one receiver and you don't have to that pressure on Pickens, they can compete with Baltimore for that division.
I got a couple fun ones for you as I'm just sitting here.
Okay, let's hear them.
The first one makes sense after this week. It's Tampa.
Ooh, wow. So you have Godwin, who's presumably out for the year.
He's out for the year.
You have Mike Evans, who's beat to shit.
At least 3 weeks.
That's what, yeah.
Possibly
what I read
more.
Today. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie. I don't hate that little receiving core that they have in Tampa right now. Like, if there's guys out, if they're out there for you and you can snag one of them, we don't know which one's going to be the guy yet. But in deeper leagues, if you can go out and get Sterling Shepard, I would. Or who's the other guy? The guy with the dreads? I'm having a moment right now.
Wandale Robinson.
He got picked up on the waiver wire last night. I know he did in our league.
Wait, for which team?
I've had him
Tampa.
for a few weeks.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Jalen
McMillan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you can go out and get one of those guys, I would. Those targets are going to have to go somewhere.
I have 2 more teams for you. Uncle Sam, I want your thoughts as well. Team 2, which I don't know if they can make it happen as easily, and I don't know if they need him as much as Tampa, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh. What do you think on Kupp at Baltimore? I think realistically right now, if it's Baltimore's on a kind of, if it's not broken, don't fix it situation. If it depends how much, if Flowers is going to, I mean, they're thinking he's going to play this week. No, I don't love it as much. I like Pittsburgh more. And honestly, God, I like Tampa more with Tampa's situation right now. That's Tampa's division to lose. Baltimore's, I wouldn't mess with that system going on there right now.
I got one more, and to me, this one makes the most sense.
Mike Evans is only supposed to be out a week.
No, 3 weeks.
No, it's at least it's at least 3 weeks. He's not going to be back until after the bye, and they're still testing and all that. And you know, hamstrings are. It's not linear. A hamstring recovery isn't linear, unfortunately. I got one more though that I think is the most fun and makes the most sense. You ready?
Sure.
The Washington Commanders.
Oh my God.
For Cooper Kupp?
For Cooper Kupp.
Oh my God. Okay. Situationally, I'll say I like Pittsburgh, Washington, and then Tampa. Because the Washington thing makes a ton of sense. A ton of sense. Again, you are instantly a favorite to win that division if you pull that trade off for Washington, don't you think?
Yeah.
Possible.
I mean, I think that they, right now with the way that Philadelphia and Dallas have been
The reason why he's not a Chief is because the asking price was too high. That's the reason why he's not a Chief. They already said that they wanted
the price was too high for Kupp.
Correct.
I believe it. I mean,
I do too.
and it should be high. I think he's. I think
it's
he's
going to
better.
take somebody with some capital too, because the Chiefs don't have any. They got all their money's tied up into 3 guys.
Would you take Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams, or DeAndre Hopkins? Any of those 3 over Cooper Kupp?
No,
I wouldn't.
no.
Maybe Adams.
I don't know.
No,
tough.
Adams
I
is
don't
the
know.
one that's going to fail the hardest.
I agree.
He fits in
his
certain
situation.
situations.
Yes.
Adams fits for the Commanders and he fits for the Steelers, but
No, Cooper Kupp's definitely out of everybody should be the most
I
sought
agree.
after one and demand the highest return.
I agree. All right, let me run some TikToks by you. This is from Reed23. Shout out to Reed23. Kareem, take it as Kareem Hunt for Devontae. He gets Devontae. There's 2 different spellings of Devontae, so Devontae could be anybody. The second spelling is spelled like Devontae Adams. I think the Kareem Hunt thing is really good right now, and it depends on where you stand in the league. So, I don't know. I would ride it out with Kareem Hunt until Devontae Adams actually proves that he's going to be serviceable in that offense.
I agree. I would ride it out with Kareem Hunt until, you got to try and figure out when Pacheco's coming back and then sell on Kareem Hunt right before that happens. That's the best case
Yeah,
scenario.
you got to see if Pacheco's going to be
If
ready.
Pacheco is ready.
Yeah.
Correct.
Later on in the show, I'd like to have the conversation about the DeAndre Hopkins too, and then talk
I
about
agree.
other potential trades. We don't have to do it right now. Number 2, pick up Rashad Bateman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Demario Douglas, or Ricky Pearsall with all these injuries. I mean, it depends on your team and what kind of slots you have, but yeah, I mean, I think Ricky Pearsall is going to pop off.
I agree.
I'm very much I'm willing to bet on that. I know people are high on Jennings because he's proved it. I think Jennings just fits into the offense where he was before, whereas Ricky Pearsall is going to seamlessly step into the Ayuk role, and I'm looking forward to that. Rashad Bateman has been very good for a very long time. A very long time, meaning we'll call it 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
That's about the longest he's been good.
But that's a
he
trend,
didn't
though.
do shit his rookie year. He was garbage.
But that's for this season. That's a trend, though. Correct, Rashad Bateman. Like, would you say that's enough to
you can say
invest
that with
in?
everybody, actually. Tank Dell hasn't done dick all year. Hello.
Yeah, we got the same Ricky
Tank
Pearsall.
Dell, Marvin Harrison Jr. You can go down the fucking list. There you go. Sell high on all of them. Sell high. Here, I had a chance to trade for Tariq Hill. I had to give up Harrison Jr., Tank Dell, Debo Samuel. And supposedly everybody had an issue with that. In the big pussy league I play in with a bunch of cunts that are in it.
Bruce, put up a poll on YouTube. Put up a poll on YouTube that said with all 4 of those names. Let them vote. Who would you rather have? Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison, Tank Dell. Who was the last one?
Debo Samuel.
And Debo Samuel. Put that up as a poll.
Who, for fantasy purposes, Debo did get released from the hospital today. So he is on schedule to play this week. But
Whatever.
we have the same Ricky Pierce. What's Ricky Pearsall's value going forward on YouTube?
One would think you have to see it, but they invested a first-round pick in him, and as an athlete, he had one of the highest RAS scores in the draft this year. That's why they spent a first-round pick on him. He's very good, Ricky Pearsall. He was good at Florida. He does really absurd things. He also brings things to the offense, like pass blocking. He brings a lot to the table, so I think he's going to spend a lot of time on the field. And Kyle Shanahan's not shy from he won't shy away from putting a rookie in there and getting his feet wet. He did it the other day. He was on a snap count. And again, it's important to emphasize that Ricky Pearsall got shot and came back before Christian McCaffrey.
I'm not impressed. I'm not fucking impressed. He hasn't done shit on the field.
It was just a through and through.
It was one game.
Through and through, bud.
It was one game. It was his
Through and through.
NFL debut.
50 Cent took 5 of them bitches.
Anyways, that's hold on.
I like this one here. Do you mind if I jump in here?
Yeah.
Start 3, sit 2. Kenneth Walker, Karen Williams, Kareem Hunt, A-Chan, and Nick Chubb.
You need to read them again. Wait, where can I find? Is this YouTube?
It's on YouTube. Start 3, sit 2. Kenneth Walker, who in my opinion is a must start right now. Karen Williams, who in my opinion is a must start right now. So the next question, realistically for me, the question is, who do you start out of Kareem Hunt, Devon Achane, and Nick Chubb?
No, the question is, who do you trade out of Kareem Hunt, Devon Achane, and Nick Chubb? First things first, I agree. If you have Kenneth Williams, you're starting him. If you have Kenneth Walker, you're starting him. If you have Kieran Williams, you're starting him. That's RB. I think they're both in the top 6. I think that's RB like 3 and 6.
I know. I thought Kieran was 4.
4.
But it's all, yes.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah. Either way, you're starting those 2 guys, or maybe you can get a haul for one of those 2 guys. I don't know. I would sell high on Kenneth Walker because he's great when he plays, but sometimes he misses some games. I think the Kieran Williams thing, it's gone great this year. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets injured. Call me crazy. As for Hunt, Achane, Chubb has a chance to emerge. I don't know how long he's going to be on a snap count for, but they obviously like him. He got a touchdown the other day. If he's not touchdown dependent, Chubb should be good. I think
He had
everything.
11 carries in his first game.
Yeah, so it should
First
go
game
up.
back,
It
so
should go
kinda-
up, right?
Go up.
I think Achane and all things Dolphins, for that matter, I think are trending in the right direction. I think that if you're a Tyreek Hill or Waddle owner and you held out this long and you're somehow still in it, good for you. I think you have a shot. And then Kareem Hunt. It's tricky until someone comes back, but no one's coming back,
This
right?
week against the Raiders, I'm rolling Hunt in that
Yeah.
spot. Because Achane, you need to see it. And Nick Chubb, I mean, he had a nice little game last week for his first game back, but I think you're going to get more volume with Hunt this week. I would roll Kenneth Walker, Kieran Williams, and Kareem Hunt, and sit Achane and sit Chubb.
Someone asked on TikTok, Xavier Legette, keep or drop? I mean, again,
Keep 'em.
I need the full context.
No, you got to keep him at this point. Hopkins is out of there. These younger guys are going to start getting a share of the targets.
No, Xavier Legette plays for the Panthers.
Oh.
Xavier Legette. That being said, I still think you're right. It sounds like Bryce. It doesn't sound like Bryce Young was named the starter this week because Andy Dalton got in a car accident. I'm curious to see. I mean, you'll know instantly on Xavier Legette's long-term health because if Bryce Young shows out somehow on Sunday, I don't know who they're playing. Who are the Panthers playing on Sunday?
They are playing. Oh, God, where are they? Denver, at Denver. Eesh. 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 I don't love that.
That ain't a great
That's
return.
not a great
game.
matchup. Yeah, no.
Listen, I don't think that he's not Spencer Rattler, but I don't think Spencer Rattler looked very raw against Denver's
Dog
defense.
shit, dude.
No, I'm just telling you, he had the yards though. I don't think Bryce
the
Young.
Hader kid was better than him, dude. Coming for one series, they were clicking. So I don't. Rattler was dog shit.
I didn't know Jake Hainer even got into the game.
Yeah, he
He
did.
was in the last series.
He's the reason why
Last
they got a
series.
touchdown.
Yeah, he was,
Last
he was
series.
the godsend that.
He was the reason why they got a touchdown.
He was the only reason that
Yeah.
game hit the over.
That's the only reason why.
Bad.
That in the league. Is
Okay,
great.
so what do you think, Bryce Young? Do you think Bryce Young's going to fare well against the Denver defense, or no? If Jake Hainer threw a touchdown against
not?
them,
Why not?
there's only one way to find out.
Why not? I mean, you don't know. You never know. It's the NFL. Anybody can win any week.
We had a YouTube question that I want to address while we're talking about the Panthers. Are we selling on Deontay Johnson now with Bryce Young back in the saddle?
I mean, it's the same case for Xavier Legette. One would think it's a downgrade for all the the pass catchers in Carolina. That being said, there's been this fire sale on wide receivers. Wouldn't shock me if Deontay Johnson gets traded. Wouldn't shock me.
So for fantasy purposes,
I'd hang on to Deontay Johnson.
What about you?
He's a wide receiver. Someone's got to catch the balls. Who do you like better, Deontay Johnson or any Raiders pass catcher not named Brock Bowers? Who would you rather have?
Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson.
Hold on, I'm going through the list here. What do we got on TikTok? Is Alexander Madison the RB1 for the Raiders going forward? Is there any hope for Zamir White? I don't think there's any hope for Zamir White because they've had all year.
They're doing splits between 3 guys.
Yeah,
It's kind of a fucking mess.
it's heavily favoring Mattinson at the moment.
Well, just when you think it's him, then all of a sudden Amir Abdul will go off for 20 points. So I don't know. Good luck with that.
The person who asked about Deontay Johnson, by the way, said trade Deontay Johnson for Dobbs, for Romeo Dobbs. I might actually consider that.
I would consider that too at this point.
Yeah. In TikTok, start ETN or Chase Brown.
Chase Brown.
Right now, Chase Brown, but I think people are way too low on ETN. I think when he's healthy, and I've been saying this for weeks, he's going to factor back into that offense. So if you have ETN, stash him. Try and sell him if you can, but don't sell too low because either someone's going to trade for him, or he's going to come back to that role in Jacksonville once he's more healthy and he's going to fit in really nicely. But they have some really tough matchups coming up defensively, Jacksonville.
Yeah,
so,
they do.
So be wary of Bigsby, ETN, whoever. D'Ernest.
I don't love the Chase Young matchup at Philadelphia this week either, though.
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown, I'm sorry. I don't love it, but
He's been consistent, though. What are his numbers the last couple
Yeah, he's
weeks?
pretty solid, dude. He's been consistent.
he had an off week last week, if I remember correctly.
He started out slow, but he's been
Other than
doing
that,
pretty well.
I want to say it was like a 7 last week, and then the 2 weeks before he had nice games. He put up a 6 last week, 13, 14, 27, 18.
Yeah.
So the Cleveland game is the outlier.
He's probably touchdown dependent, too.
He is touchdown dependent. His 27 came in a 2-touchdown game. His 13 came in a touchdown game against the Giants. So
Raider Nation Ross, start 2 PPR. Kieran Williams, Kamara, Kareem Hunt, David Montgomery, Tyrone Tracy, Eckler.
hold on.
Kieran Williams,
Yeah,
you start 2. PPR.
that's one.
Kieran Williams, Alvin Kamara,
That's
Just
2.
Kareem
answer
Hunt.
your own question.
David Montgomery, Tyrone Tracy, Austin Eckler. It's the first 2,
The
isn't it?
first 2. And if you really hate the matchup for one of the first 2, then you throw Monty in there. But other than that, I
I
don't
would say
think
you throw Eckler in there because he's going to catch balls.
Yeah, that's true. And PPR, you have to consider
Yeah.
Eckler. Go ahead.
No, I'm
Oh.
I'm over to YouTube.
Is Pickens a top 10 receiver now that that Danger Russ is quarterback 1 for the Steelers?
I don't know about top 10, but I love George Pickens right now.
Getting Russell Wilson into that offense is going to do more for him than anything else I can imagine.
Yeah. I'm
Look at
excited.
Last week.
I'm excited.
Last week.
We talked about this Monday, by the way. The body language
Oh,
is completely different on the Steelers sideline. And it made everyone, Mike Tomlin mainly, everyone's coming out smelling like a rose in Pittsburgh at the moment. And there's probably got to be more confidence in this purgatory team than any of the past 3 or 4 purgatory teams.
I agree.
I think there's a lot to like about Pittsburgh right now, and that includes George Pickens. In TikTok, start Rashad White or ETN.
I'm going to go with Rashad White, especially with all the pass catchers out. I think they're going to utilize all 3 running backs going forward and just ass hammer and try and pound the ball down the field. They've got 2 guys that are very nice running backs. I would play both of them going forward. They're going to have to run the ball.
I don't think Rashad White looked that bad the other night.
No.
either.
He didn't.
No, not at all.
He was productive.
He was nice. And I think that whole running back group for Tampa is going to eat with the receivers being out.
Yeah, the Tucker kid, he looked
Yeah.
good. What are you going to say about, what's his name? Scrappy Doo, or whatever his fucking name is over there.
Scrappy.
Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irvin, Bucky Cheese Dick,
Their nickname is Buck and Tuck.
whatever. Tuck and Buck.
Fuck.
Raider Nation's back in the TikTok chat. He's asking, trade for Tyreek or am I good? I have JJ, Nico Collins.
Don't
Garrett
trade for
Wilson,
Tyreek.
Higgins.
Don't even go there. Don't try it. They'll never let it through in your league.
Hold on. I thought of something here. I did ask for Amon-Ra instead of Debo.
Whatever. Don't even go there right now.
There was one on YouTube that I liked. McConkey versus New Orleans or Keon Coleman versus Seattle. And I think
I would say Coleman against Seattle.
I think so too. Right now, I think that Keon Coleman's really going to come into his own with Amari Cooper there. I think he's going to be electric the rest of the way. Personally, I don't hate McConkey though, but because realistically, he's the only receiver they have. Because I don't think Quentin Johnston's playing this week either. But I love Keon Coleman right now. I think he has a ton of upside going forward.
Yeah, agreed. He takes on a different role now that Cooper's there. Cooper's the throw it up and see if he's there kind of guy, and Keon can limit his route tree, and he can draw the not so good corners, the not as good corners, and I think that's going to really benefit. Not that I didn't like Keon before, because of course I've been obsessed with Keon Coleman for 3 years now, but I think he really fits in there, and he's going to thrive going forward.
If you're a DeAndre Hopkins owner, is he an automatic start going forward?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I think I would call him a wide receiver 3 with like the upsides wide receiver 1. Like he has a chance to do some real damage. Because the problem with the Chiefs is they always disperse the ball around. Like the ball goes all over the place to begin with. It's like trying to pick that running back situation from earlier this year. And of course, Kareem Hunt has emerged a little bit. But if you have DeAndre Hopkins, like you're probably starting him, pending how good your receivers are. Wide receiver 3, am I fair there?
I agree with that.
With crazy upside.
He's a flex play this week.
There you go.
Raider Nation has been pumping out some really good messages in the chat. He said Uncle Sam is right, by the way. Laugh out loud. I tried everything, Uncle Sam, and nothing.
What?
I think he's talking about trying to trade for Tyreek.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
He said, what's your favorite buy lows right now? I love this question. I absolutely love this question. I have a long list of buy lows at the moment.
Let's hear him. Start it off.
I would start with Chris Olave because he's sitting on people's benches right now, and if you're trading for him, you probably don't need him. At some point, he's going to come back, and at some point, Derek Carr is going to come back, and it's going to all make a lot of sense. And if they bring in another receiver, that's going to be great too because I think Olave is going to be drawing a ton of snaps at that point. He's going to draw a ton of targets anyways. He's going to get a ton of targets because what's his face is out now. So just in general, I think that Chris Olave is a very good buy low candidate.
I figured out why the collapse for New Orleans.
Tell me.
What do you think? They haven't been able to sustain anything offensively besides losing the Derek Carr thing. It's Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's the key that makes their offense go. Because without him, with him in there the first 2 weeks, they score over 50 points.
True.
With him gone, they haven't done shit. Period. And he's been out, 4 weeks, Taysom Hill? Going on 5 weeks?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Maybe longer? 6 weeks?
Yep.
Yeah. That could be the reason why. They don't have their little gimmick play.
Eddie, Sam, and I want to go back to that question, by the way, because I have more people to add, and we could use that as filler here and there. Eddie Sam on TikTok asked, start Rico Dowdell against San Francisco or Justice Hill against the Browns?
Justice Hill against the Browns.
I don't know about that. I like the Dowdell against Frisco.
I like Justice Hill's upside going forward.
I like so
He's a
I love
backup. He's a third down guy.
I think Dowdell's going to pan out eventually. I think they're going to start giving him the ball more. Did you guys notice what they're constantly doing with Justice Hill in Baltimore?
Every single passing opportunity, he's on the field.
It's anything like second and long or third and long.
He's on the field.
It's a screen pass
Correct.
to him, and he's making the most of them to the point where he scored the other day. So in a hypothetical, like the other day, they had third and goal from like the 30 at one point. 2 or 3 times in a row, like they literally kept running the same play, which was a screen to Justice Hill to see how much bruising he could do.
Every single passing down, he is on the field.
And just in general, I think that they could run a lot of screens against the Browns defense because that's one of the ways you beat the Browns is short yardage situations because you don't have as much time to throw. So I could see Justice Hill actually having a decent game. But to get the big numbers, he's probably touchdown dependent. But I like Justice Hill now. Going forward, though, Rico Dowdell, I'm with Uncle Sam. He's going to slowly emerge. I think things are going to correct in Dallas a little bit, and he's going to slowly emerge as a candidate.
If they
to
don't,
step
Mike
up.
McCarthy's going to be out real quick.
Don't you think he's out no matter what, though?
I think he's gone at the end of the
Yes.
end of the year regardless.
Agreed.
But I think if they come out here and lay an egg against the Niners, he's done.
Agreed.
I have a feeling he's done. I don't think he can continue to go forward with them.
Go hit the YouTube real quick.
I have a buy low candidate.
Yeah,
that
please.
I absolutely love.
Please.
And we talked about him earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dobbs.
You can get him off of waivers. You don't have to buy low.
I love the opportunity that's there with Dobbs right now. And I'll tell you this, like I'm not nearly as much in love with Jaden Reed as I once was, but I like all of the upside that all of the other Green Bay pass catchers have now.
You're going to say that, and this week Jaden Reed's going to put a fucking 20.
I don't know about that. He's a little banged up right now.
Yeah.
He's a little banged up.
Yeah.
The key to that offense working and Jordan Love not throwing a shitload of picks is them spreading the ball around. And they have They have good enough pass catchers to do it between Wicks and Watson, and I like Dobbs upside going forward. I think he's the true number 2 there, and I think he's as long as Jaden Reed's banged up, he's going to put up a shitload of points.
Do you have a buy low candidate by any chance, Uncle Sam, before we go to the YouTube chat?
Yeah, if he's out there.
Go ahead.
Some leagues, maybe he's out there in some leagues.
Who?
Dobbs.
Is there anyone that's rostered that you could think of right now that hasn't had a good year that you think is going to pop off towards the end of the year?
It's hard to say. I actually think that Pickens is going to really, the needle is going to go off for him.
I think
Big
if you
time.
can get George Pickens right now, I agree.
Just because here's one thing about him, and I noticed that the other night. Russ didn't have to be deadly fucking accurate.
Correct.
He just had to get the ball near him, and he was snatching that fucker out of the sky with 2 or 3 guys on him. So that's going to be a interesting thing. I really think he could shoot up the ranks pretty fast because he's going to get the targets.
I have another one.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir. I like Khalil Shakir going forward, and you can call me crazy because he dropped in the ranks pretty quick, but I think he's still going to be that guy, the deep ball guy there. And I think I don't want to say JMO, but a watered down version of JMO that's going to be able to get you that huge play potential week in and week out, especially with Amari Cooper getting a lot of pulling the defense towards him.
You have to account for Cooper.
And if Keon Coleman keeps up what he did last week, I think Shakir is going to continue. You're going to get 10-point weeks out of him.
He's going to do what he always does, take the top off the defense.
Yes.
That's what he does. That's what he's best at. He's not a number 1. His route tree is not that good.
Raider Nation's asking, can he get Pickens for Jackson Smith and Jigba? So let me say this. As a Jackson Smith and Jigba owner and someone who's banking on him having a good couple weeks here, if Metcalf is out long term, I would rather have Pickens. If you can get Pickens, I would go after him. Raider Nation, it sounds like your team or your league is like 6 teams, and everyone's just got these monster whopper all-star rosters.
Yeah, I don't understand that. With 4-team league.
Eddie Sam says Devon Achane is a buy low. Yes, I'm high on all Dolphins right now with Tua coming back. And if Achane's healthy, he's deadly. He's very, very deadly.
I have a Mark Andrews question.
Yeah.
Is Mark Andrews back, or was last week a one-time performance?
It wasn't just last week. He's got touchdowns in 2 straight weeks.
Prior to that, he was good too.
Yeah, I think Mark Andrews is very much back, especially as Baltimore continues to ascend. I'm all in on Mark Andrews, and I think likely he'll be fine as well.
I would, if you can trade Mark Andrews right now, trade. I would eat. I would eat whatever you can get back for him because people are going to salivate at that. Why are you giving me the dumb face? I didn't want Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Cousin Steven, great question. Does Jonathan Brooks supplant Chuba, whatever we want to pronounce his name is, Chuba Hubbard, when he's ready to go? Great question, because I just traded for Chuba Hubbard. I'm going to say eventually he's going to, I don't know if it'll be a split, but eventually Brooks will cut into Chuba Hubbard's snaps because he's a second-round pick, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct.
And he's a good back, but the point I would make on rookie running backs is no matter who they are, they almost never jump in with both feet and take the reins. It's going to take a second. It's going to take a second for Jonathan Brooks to be introduced properly to the offense. I'd call it a month. And I would say look out middle of November if you see Jonathan Brooks' snap counts start to rise a little bit. But Chuba Hubbard is actually very good.
Chuba Hubbard's having a fantastic year.
Like he's 80 yards from scrimmage every game, and he's got a touchdown in I think half of them. He's a good player. And if you have him right now, you're starting him. He's a top 12 to 14 play every week at running back, in my opinion.
Do you have any worry about Jaden Daniels as a fantasy asset going forward?
No. I bet he plays this week.
He's out.
No, he's questionable right now. Still questionable.
I thought he was out.
Against Chicago, projected to have 0, which more likely
Correct.
than not means he's not going to play. If I could sell Jaden Daniels for the house right now, I think I might.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you can get.
I mean,
It depends on what you can get. I personally think Jaden Daniels will. I think he'll continue to rise, or maybe not rise. He'll plateau, but him plateauing at where he is, which is like QB 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, like that's good. Like he's a league-winning type player right now, depending where you got him. So,
I want to talk about a couple buy low running backs. What about Javonte Williams? How do we feel about him going forward? Because he's been very up and down. ADP was the 4th, 5th turn. He's currently running back 32, coming off of his first really big game of the year against New Orleans.
that's a good.
They had
I love
offensive
him.
line issues. That's why.
He's a tough one to figure out.
So what they're doing with Bo Nix is perfect in my opinion. I think Sean Payton's nailing how they're doing this. Bo Nix is just a game manager. And if you have a game manager quarterback, that's very good for your running backs. And I think they should continue to run both of them, Jaleel McLaughlin and Javonte Williams. If you have them, Javonte Williams is going to finish as a top 20 play, in my opinion.
Other running back buy low candidates. How do we feel about Mattinson?
I don't feel good about anything not named Brock Bowers.
Anything on the Raiders, you can't touch it.
How do we feel about Tank Bigsby?
Good right now, long term. Their upcoming stretch is against some really good run defenses. Long term, not great. And again, it's going to come down to ETN's health. If ETN gets healthy, right, the offense, he needs to be on the field because he opens up the passing game for them. And he's going to get more of the snaps. He's the better back. But Bigsby's running really well right now. So in the short term, if you have him, I think you have to start him.
Najee Harris.
Good.
Feel real good about him.
Good.
We like him going forward.
Oh yeah.
He's getting better every week.
Yeah.
And their offense is significantly less anemic now.
I like him going forward.
So as these guys start catching passes and defenses have to prep for that, they have to prep for
That's just
Washington
gonna
and
open up their run
and
game,
Pickens and all
have
that.
these guys downfield.
Agreed. Agreed. Could I get Pickens for? Oh no, I'm sorry. 12 teams. I've made like 3 trades so far. I got Jackson Smith and Jigma for Parkinson's and one. Yeah, I mean, I think you got a lot of idiots in your team, in your league, Raider Nation. I want to join that league next year. Is it for money? I'd like to know. Can we go back to some buy lows? And then eventually, PJ asked a good question about the sell highs. Can we go back to the buy lows, though?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I have 2 that I absolutely love, and you guys
Okay.
you're both gonna pick me apart. I love everything about the Dallas Cowboys going forward.
Wow.
I love Dak and I love CD. And you can destroy me for it, but this happens every year,
Didn't say anything, dude. Dak Prescott is Tony Romo reincarnated.
and that's good news for fantasy, right?
Yeah.
I love
There was
Dak
nobody
and CD.
better than Tony Romo in fantasy. He used to put up fucking blistering points during
Yes,
the
he did.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
he did.
They just do this every year. They go on one of these runs that gets you to buy back in, and then they take a dump.
You know what the difference is this year, I think, is
They're more
that
broken than ever.
they're more broken now than they've ever been.
I agree.
I don't remember the Cowboys this broken. I really don't. They're not good.
I think their division though is
They're not good. They're
their
fucking-
division
good.
here, NFC East standings. Their division is open and like it's still winnable. I don't think they're going to. I wouldn't take them over the Eagles or the Commanders, but they're at 3-3. The Eagles are 4-2. The Commanders are 5.
They're a game and a half out of 1.
Yeah. So you're still very much in it. Again, I don't think it's going to happen,
They just
but
need some divisional wins. If they can pull that out, they're in it. So
yeah. And I
see
still
what happens. I don't know. Going forward, you got to see who's going to be coaching, who's going to be calling plays. That's all going to come within. You should know right after this week about what's going to happen there, because I think if they come out and they lay an egg and with the Niners, you'll see some changes.
What about some sell high candidates?
I have one.
Yeah.
James Conner. If I could move on from James Conner right now, I would. You have inconsistency at best, and those inconsistency comes against great run-stopping defense. Green Bay, he put up a 4. Detroit, he put up a 3. Other than that, they're all double-digit games, but I don't love the direction that Arizona's going in right now. And going forward, they have Miami this week, which should be a good week, which should be a nice time for you to sell high. And then they have Chicago, the Jets, Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle again. And I don't love that stretch going forward for him. I do not like him against those run defenses. Outside of Detroit and Green Bay, those are the best defensive fronts he's played so far this year. I'm selling on James Conner right now. And I have another running back that I would sell on right now.
Yeah.
I don't love the upside anymore for Brian Robinson. I think,
You look good fucking this week, dude.
again, it kind of goes with the same philosophy. Going forward, he has Chicago, the Giants, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Dallas in his next 5. And I don't love that. The Commanders right now are so throw happy, and Jaden Daniels taking up a lot of the run, and Eckler's getting healthier, and I think they're going to continue to use him in passing situations. I'm not in love with either of them right now, and you can get a king's ransom back pretty much for both of those guys. I would at least see what's out there. I would at least sniff around as far as running backs go.
I got another buy low that I like.
Hit me.
Caleb Williams.
Ooh.
I think they have a really easy. They play a last place schedule, so they have a really easy stretch
Yeah.
coming up, and I think that's going to benefit him.
Quarterback buy lows are interesting.
You have a question
Huh?
in the YouTube chat.
I have a question in the YouTube chat.
Yep.
Ferguson or Otten going forward? Thoughts?
Ferguson, I'm high on all things Cowboys, but Cade Otton in the short term until they solve whatever's going. Like I just put a waiver on Cade Otton in another league because I have Kittle. Cade Otton going forward should be a pretty solid play
I agree.
until they solve those holes, until we know what's going on with Mike Evans. But he's also like the only thing going on at the moment, so I would be wary of that.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think Tampa's going to do anything.
They might not be able to afford to do anything.
I don't think they can afford to do anything. And I don't think they're going to. It's not really their MO to go out and try and get somebody at this point. I think they're going to try and keep it together with Sterling Shepard and fucking, what was it, that one guy's name? McMillan, Jalen
I just think you're
McMillan.
going to see more of Bucky Irvin and the rest of these
And I
guys.
think they're going to
I
run.
think you're going to
the
see
fuck.
that a heavy thing. And your Cade Otton guy might be the guy to grab right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, out of their
Well,
pass catchers.
Yeah.
Out of their
Picked him up.
out of Tampa pass catchers right now, the two guys that stick out for me are Otten and Sterling Shepard. Because at least Sterling Shepard has on-field experience versus
No experience.
no experience. And I mean, Jalen McMillan's a rookie. Trey Palmer, I mean, fuck. I'm not too high on Trey Palmer. Like, I'm going Sterling Shepard and Cade Otton, personally. Oh, I have one.
Yeah. This is a buy low or a sell high.
This is a question
Oh.
for both of you.
Yeah.
With JMO missing the next 2 games,
He's not. They haven't decided yet.
what did he appeal?
He has
He has a 5-day window to appeal.
He has a 5-day window to appeal. He's determining what the best course is. The window is limited so that they'll make a decision the next day based on some information. It sounds like it's Adderall. I can't imagine it's anything
I called
else.
that shit from the start.
And it's really stupid because Rashi Rice got to burn a bunch of people and drive 120 miles an hour and crash into people. Still hasn't been suspended, but
But you're
Jameson
going to
Williams.
suspend Jameis Williams for. Yeah.
Don't forget about Jordan Addison, too. DUI,
Oh yeah.
still playing. Okay. If he does not play,
hmm
do we like Khalif Raymond as a flex play?
It depends on your team.
Say you own Jamison Williams.
And you don't have anyone on your bench better than wide receiver 3 or 4 in Detroit, there's high boom or bust potential with Khalif Raymond. It's really high. And on top of that, I know it's the Titans. They have the number, I don't know if it going into last week, you have to fact check me this week, but they have the number 1 secondary in football.
Oof.
They're very good. They had only given up like 1 or 2 receiving touchdowns before Buffalo charred them last week.
And it was all, it all came late.
And it all can't, yeah.
I think I like him.
I like Tim Patrick more than Khalif Raymond this week.
I agree. I think Tim Patrick's going to be your true 2.
Next week
I'm
is
a
where it
Cleve
gets
Raymond
tricky.
guy. I love Cleve Raymond.
I like Khalif Raymond too. I think
I think he's gonna
I got a soft spot for him this week.
he's gonna turn some heads.
Zolo, is there a question in the chat?
In TikTok,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Let me refresh though.
Oh.
Trade Rashad White and Calvin Ridley for Chris Olave. Yeah, 100%.
Rashad White and Calvin Ridley
Yeah,
for Chris. You would trade Rashad White for Chris Olave
I
right now?
would. I would. He's in a three-headed monster, right? And things are down. There's no pass catchers. And Ridley, he's the other side of the coin. There's no quarterback, right? You got Mason Rudolph throwing to Calvin Ridley, so there's not a lot to like there. Whereas Chris Olave, when he comes back, is a good
You like
pass
Mason
catcher.
Rudolph better than Will Levis?
Sort of, in a way. Yeah, he's still not great though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I like him better. He's
Even
still
with
not great.
well Ridley, I mean, what else does Tennessee have to catch passes? Right?
Treylon Burks, who I think is injured now,
He's on IR.
and then Tyler Boyd might still be there.
Tyler Boyd is
Yeah.
still there.
Yeah, but it's the same case for Olave with a better quarterback, and Olave at least has done some deeds this year. You know,
Yeah, I love Rashad White though going forward. I think I would hold. I really do. I think realistically for Tampa Bay to get out of the situation that they're in, they're gonna have to run the ball 30 times a game.
yeah, but his snaps are going to be thirded with
I know.
Bucky Irving and
Fucky Irving.
and Tucker.
I know.
That's the problem. I need to see more. I need to see a bigger body of work with this new game plan Tampa's going to have. And maybe I would say not do it, but right now on paper I'm telling you Chris Olave is a buy low for me.
I want to talk quarterback real quick. Where are we at fantasy wise with a consistent go to I can run the table with this guy quarterback going forward? Because it's been such a disaster this year unless you owned Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. The two guys that came up out of nowhere were Baker and Daniels. Geno Smith right now is sitting at quarterback 6. Do we think that through the rest of this year, even if DK misses a little bit of time, Geno Smith can be a reliable quarterback 1 going forward the rest of the way?
No.
I tend to agree with you.
3 or 4 guys are
If
going
he's without Metcalf for a consistent amount of time, I don't know.
You might have to start to look in a different direction.
Yeah, it's possible.
Just not that I don't think Geno Smith is viable because he is, but I just think guys are going to emerge to usurp him at QB6. I think a lot of his numbers are dependent on like 3 or 4 games. You know, it's 3 games worth of numbers. Really top heavy because what are his numbers
Turn
against the
around and hand
Giants?
the ball off to a monster.
Yeah,
So
2 monsters.
yeah,
Well, how do we feel about Kyler going forward?
Good, very good.
You do.
Yeah, I can't back down from that. I'm sorry.
How about you?
no.
Because I feel like we're kind of on a
he's
Cardinals
starting
slide right
to-
now.
He's starting to. Even last week in this win here, he's just not. It doesn't look good. It looks like it's drawn. They look like they're drawing shit up in the sand. It just doesn't look good. I don't know what it is.
I'm the opposite of that. I took last week and I picked the Chargers. I took last
Yeah.
week as, man, this guy had a really good game against a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
A good second half in particular. And he made the throws on the final drive. He was making the throws properly, and they were moving the ball. And I don't know. I mean, of course,
It's
I
just
need to see,
inconsistent.
yeah, he's got to be more consistent.
He's
That's a great
fucking
point.
That's the problem.
That's a great point. I need to see like a larger body of work because it feels like it's every other week. But again, like the Cardinals are very much in this division race right now.
Aaron Rodgers.
You don't want my thoughts.
Can you start Aaron Rodgers as a fantasy quarterback going forward? He's currently quarterback 17.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you don't have one of the top 10 guys, you have to.
That's the scenario. If you don't have one of the top,
Would you
You
start?
have to.
Would you start Darnold over Rodgers right now?
No.
Would you,
I wouldn't.
would you
I
start
wouldn't.
Trevor Lawrence over Rodgers right now?
That one's a little bit closer.
That one's tricky. If Brian Robinson could continue doing what he's doing, I would say yes.
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas, sorry. If he could continue to do what he's doing, I would say yes. But that's too far in between. I mean, they're not consistent at all.
What about Bo Nix?
What about Bo next?
No.
Would you start Bo Nix as a
No.
fantasy quarter?
Over
Not
Aaron
over Aaron
Rodgers?
Rodgers.
No.
Bo Nix is currently fantasy quarterback at 13.
Yeah.
I don't think it maintains though. I think there's nowhere to go but down for their pass game.
Okay, this one I think is going to be the most divisive. Kirk Cousins.
He scares me right now.
Kirk Cousins is one spot below Rodgers at 18. Owned in 30% more leagues than Rodgers, averaging 15 points. This is Kirk Cousins' season thus far. 5, 19, 12, 8, 39, 14, 7.
So every other week,
Answer
he's
your
doing
own question.
something.
Every other week, he's dog shit.
I hate that we have to think this way about Kirk Cousins because I do think he's good still, and I think he could very much win that division. But as a fantasy quarterback, yeah, I mean, look at the numbers. That's a trend. It's every other week, so there's inconsistencies for sure.
Now, hypothetically, say you are the Kirk Cousins owner and you're thinking about going in a different direction. He's going to Tampa Bay this week to play a decimated Tampa team, which he put up 509 yards against 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I like that.
Is Kirk
If
Cousins,
you're a fantasy guy, you better fucking play him.
is he an automatic start against Tampa again
Absolutely.
this week?
Yeah.
One more quarterback I wanted to ask you guys about. Dak Prescott. Currently quarterback 20. Can you ride the table with Dak Prescott the rest of the way?
Look at his numbers in every game, though. That's the thing. So
13, 15,
yeah, good,
33,
really good,
19,
good,
17,
good.
3.
3 is Detroit, and then there's a bye.
And now he's on the bye.
So it's basically 2 buys essentially.
Right.
So I wonder what he is weeks 1 through 5, which I'm sure is pretty good and pretty high. I'm willing to bet that.
With the 33 sprinkled in there, more likely than not, yes.
Yeah. So again, I think that they're like it's shit or get off the pot for Dallas. They do this every year. Uncle Sam brings up a really good point when he says that, well, things look a little different because they're down, and I don't know how they could fix it this time. So you have to worry about that. But if that's not the case, all the pieces and all of the makings are there. Brandon Cooks is coming back. Everything is there in-house for the ship to be righted with Dak Prescott. So I think he could easily maintain and finish in the top 10. We're factoring in a bye and a bad performance. That's my thing. So I think he's got potential to finish pretty high.
Yeah, he will. He will. He's Tony Romo. We talked about that.
George, hold on. George Pickens moving forward with Russell Wilson at quarterback. We already answered this, but yeah, we're all high on George Pickens.
I would buy on George Pickens right now. 100%.
Buy on Russ.
Yeah.
Honest to
Buy on
God.
Russ.
Honest to God, if we're talking quarterbacks, that's not a bad thing right now. I want to look real quick.
You know, he played pretty well last year.
Russell Wilson-
with a team that wasn't really talented and a coach that didn't like him. And I thought he was really actually pretty good last year for a 6-7 game stretch. He was real nice. You know, till the wheels came off there.
He's only owned in 21% of leagues, and his
Yeah.
one game he put up a 30, a 27.5. And
Yeah.
with the Giants this week, coming off of the way the Giants looked the last week, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Get some more questions in. I want to turn for a second here, and I want us to talk about the playoff picture at the moment. And just go over a few things. As far as the AFC goes, Buffalo right now has a 2.5 game lead on Miami, a 3 game lead on the Jets, and we can agree that New England's pretty much dead. Right now, Uncle Sam, do you think the opportunity is there at this point for Miami or the Jets to catch Buffalo and win that division?
Yes.
Who and why?
I think it could be either Jets or Miami. They can get their shit together. They should be able to beat Buffalo. Because I don't think Buffalo's as good as what people think they are. I mean, I thought they've gotten lucky in a few games that they won. They should have lost the Cardinal game, first game of the year. They wound up winning it at the end. But I don't like what they've done offensively, Buffalo, this year. I mean, I get it. They're trying to reel in Allen to be an absolute, instead of being the running freak that he is, and make him throw the football, which I think is not good for him.
I'm the opposite. I am so high on Buffalo after the number one, the Jets win, and number two, the Cooper trade. So over the last 2 weeks, I was extremely low on Buffalo 2 weeks ago. Thought they were fraudulent. I think that Amari Cooper brings something that Josh Allen has not had in a very long time, which is a true X receiver. It's going to completely open up the pass game. Like you said, Khalil Shakir is going to look good because of this. Keon Coleman's going to look better because of this. Kincaid is going to look better because of this. Ray Davis and Cook have been running the ball really well. I think Buffalo runs away with that division. To answer your initial question, though, yeah, Miami, if they ball out of control for a month here, Buffalo's got a first place schedule and a tough enough stretch that they could lose some games. If it's a choice between Miami or the Jets, I could see a scenario where Miami, especially as they get healthier, can maybe push them. Certainly can push for a wild card spot. Sub in the Jets and Buffalo. I flip-flopped there because 2 weeks ago I was high as shit on the Jets, and now I'm not, even with Devontae Adams. So I don't think the Jets at 2-5 can catch 5-2 Buffalo.
AFC North. Baltimore and Pittsburgh are tied at 5-2. Cincinnati's at 3-4. Cleveland is dead. Couple parts to this question. One, Pittsburgh going forward. Can they maintain with Baltimore and take this all the way into that last quarter of the season, being right there with them neck and neck?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're a good, well-rounded, balanced football team.
Is there a situation where you think Pittsburgh can win that division?
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, those divisional games between them and Baltimore are going to be huge.
Cincinnati's 2 games back. Does Cincinnati stand a chance at jumping
No,
both
Cincinnati-
of those teams?
No, I don't think they can do that, but they get into the playoffs, they can do some damage.
So we could see a situation where there's 3 teams out of this division.
Yes.
Zolo?
I'm not as high on Cincinnati as you guys are, but Cincinnati is very much in it, especially because how bad the AFC is. At 3-4 at this phase in the process for the AFC, like, they can get in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with Uncle Sam. I can envision a scenario where 3 of them get in. I think the edge goes to Baltimore until it doesn't. I give the edge, like, at some point their defense isn't going to give up 30 points a game, and I think that just comparing what Russ did on Sunday night to what Tampa did to Baltimore on Monday night, Tampa's offense is a lot more prolific. Even with Mike Evans out and then eventually Godwin dying, they still put up 31. I don't know if Pittsburgh's offense is capable of doing that. I'd like to think so. I'm excited to see Russ. I want to trust Russ. And then conversely, the other side of the coin is the Ravens defense. Like, I need to see the Ravens defense hold up a lot better. I give the edge to the Ravens until I see different from Russ, or if I see
You're
worse.
living on Lamar trying to throw 5 touchdowns. And
It's working, though.
yeah, but it worked in that game. It hasn't really panned out for him throughout this year like that.
That divisional matchup, the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game, I agree with what you said. Those games, to me, those are going to be absolutely fantastic.
They're going to be big for positioning down the end of the stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to get home field? Who's going to?
But I want
Who's
to
got to go on the road?
I want to see both those teams play each other. Because you have great defense against stellar offense. I think those are going to be fantastic.
Oh, it's an offensive league, so all the offensive teams are going to have the advantage.
The AFC South. Houston's at 5-2. We have not been impressed with them yet.
They won 5 games.
And they've won 5 games.
Yeah.
Jacksonville or Indianapolis is 1 game behind them at 4-3. Does Indy have the meat to win this division?
I think so. I think so. They're right there. I mean, nobody's running away with anything right now, man. There's too many teams on the heels of these guys that are leading the divisions right now. It's too early to tell. They haven't played enough divisional games to even give you a good fucking premise on what's going on.
So you think Indy's in that?
I do. I think Indy's. I don't think any team beside New England, Cleveland,
Tennessee.
fucking Carolina, Tennessee. Those teams are not there.
Okay, what about Jacksonville?
I think Jacksonville's there. What are they? 2-5?
They're 2-5.
They're 2-5, dude. Listen, they're not totally out of anything. Like Zolo's been saying, that whole AFC right now is fucking garbage.
So you
I don't know what happened.
You see a scenario where Jacksonville could slide,
They
in.
could.
And a scenario where Indy wins the division.
Yeah. I mean, whoever gets hot, dude. Indy's doing it with smoke and mirrors, dude. They're doing it with Anthony Richardson. They continue to win games.
No, they're doing it with Joe Flacco.
Anyway, three out of three of their wins were Flacco. But I mean, they won that game last week. It was all Anthony Richardson. I thought for sure Flacco would be installed in that game because this guy can't go a 3-game stretch without getting fucking hurt. See what happens.
AFC West is a pretty easy one. Kansas City 6-0. Nobody's catching them.
The road to the fucking Super Bowl goes through Kansas City. No matter how much you don't want to hear that, it's the truth.
Is there a situation where Denver or the Chargers could make a playoff?
No.
Yeah.
Denver might be able to make a playoff run. Chargers could too.
And same with the Chargers.
They could make it. It all depends.
Let's do this. Let's do this really quick with the AFC. I see Buffalo up top. I see the Chiefs up top. I see the Ravens up top and the Texans up top. I think that holds for all four.
I agree.
I think it holds for all four. Let's go from there. The next 3 teams. So Pittsburgh, I think, is in.
You think Pittsburgh's in?
So we have two more spots. I'll give you team names. Dolphins, Jets, Broncos, Chargers, Bengals. We'll say Colts. Broncos, Jets, Dolphins, Chargers, Bengals, Colts. 6
Said
teams.
Broncos, Colts.
My fault. Just the next teams. Like
Okay, we have
All right.
2 spots. Does Miami get in?
I'd give you all teams with winning records except for the Bengals and the Dolphins.
Does Miami get in or the Jets get in?
I think neither.
Miami, the Jets, or Cincinnati?
I think Cincinnati has a chance to get in out of those 3 teams.
Cincy or Indy?
If it's a choice
They-
between the two, I disagree because the Colt or excuse me, Indy, exactly.
Colts have an easier schedule.
Exactly. They're in the
forward.
easier division. They get to play Jacksonville. I don't know how many times they've played Jacksonville, only once.
Cincinnati's in their
the Titans.
realm to make a push right now
Exactly.
because of their schedule. But it's going to get a lot tougher.
I agree. Indy has a better shot over Cincy
Yeah.
because of the schedule.
Okay, Indianapolis versus Denver and the Chargers.
Dude, you know what? Denver's funny. Listen, let's be honest. Offensively, I don't think Denver has the guns to keep up with those other teams.
I don't think they do either.
Defensively, they're nice, but offensively, I don't think they got the horses to keep up. I don't even think they got the horses to beat the Chargers.
So we'll put Indy as our number 2. So we got
Yeah.
1 spot left. Between Miami, the Jets, Cincy, Denver, and the Chargers. I think we can eliminate the Chargers if we're having this conversation right now.
That's fair.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I think they could get
continue
in
to win.
But
You have to eliminate
But
one between the
hold
Chargers
on.
and the
you're,
Jets.
you're having your
They're at the
cake and
bottom.
you're having your cake and eat it too. I know he named 3 teams there at least, or 2 teams at least that you think have a better shot than the Chargers, right?
Yeah,
Do you think Denver has a better shot than the Chargers?
I do.
I do too.
I do.
Okay,
they got to play head up too. They got to play each other here real soon. So
so we make this easy. Denver or Cincy?
I think Cincinnati.
I think
I
Cincinnati.
think Cincinnati as well.
Okay.
I still think, you know what? Teams make it without quarterbacks. We know this. We've seen it happen. I just don't think Bo Nix is what it is to put Denver over that thing. He's not Trent Dilfer.
This is the $1 million question now. Cincy, Miami, or the Jets?
Cincinnati. I wouldn't put Miami or the Jets in the class of Denver, the Chargers, the Colts. Okay, so you have my teams now. It's Colts, Steelers, and Bengals. Colts, Steelers, Bengals, in the 4 division winners.
What do you think?
That's what I think it is.
Cincy, Miami, or the Jets?
I don't know. I think Cincinnati.
I agree.
Even though they're going to hit a stretch where they're going to have to play a lot of divisional games.
They'll split
Which,
2
what,
of them.
what are you going to do? They
They'll
going to lose to
split.
Cleveland? No.
That division always
already beat
splits.
Cleveland.
That division splits all the time.
I know.
They could go into Baltimore and beat Baltimore.
Yeah. I have done it.
The only one for me that has a question mark is Miami because we haven't seen it in 6 weeks.
They're in too big of a hole.
But I agree, they might be down too.
I don't listen, they have 2 wins. I don't think so. I don't think a 2-win team is totally out of it right now. I don't.
Not in the AFC.
No.
But they have to usurp. Like the Chargers can. They play everyone close, and if they're in games
Right.
again, it's a matter of how the game ends. And you said the Chargers and Broncos have to play. They played. The Chargers beat them. I'm still
Yeah.
higher on the Broncos because that good defense and game manager formula. It's worked. Talk about a Cooper Kupp landing spot.
Yeah. There you go.
Denver.
Let's jump to questions real quick and then do the AFC to round it off. Would you trade Deontay Johnson, Tank Bigsby, and Jordan Addison for BTJ,
Brian Thomas.
for Brian Thomas? That's an and?
Shout out to Squid.
Deontay Johnson, Tank Bigsby, and Addison for Brian Thomas Jr.
No, that's a lot to give up.
That's a lot to get.
I'm as high as on Brian Thomas as anyone, but you're relying on a lot going forward, and they have a lot of bad matchups coming up.
What do
So
you
I would
think of that one? That's a lot
I
to
think,
give
I
up.
think that's way too much to give up. You know what? It's hard to say. You don't know what's going to happen going forward.
Would Cooper
That's the
Cup
bad thing.
be a good fit in Dallas?
Yeah, 100%. You have the possession guy and the take the top off the defense guy. 100%.
That fucks Jerry Jones' answer to the Derrick Henry question. 10
Exactly.
different
That's
ways.
why it doesn't work. That's why it's not a fit. It's because Jerry Jones has egg on his face at that point.
Should I consider trading Rashad White, Dalton Kincaid, and Christian Watson for Devontae Adams and Isaiah Pacheco? Oh, God. I don't love Kincaid anymore, and I don't love Christian Watson, but I love Rashad White, and I don't love Devontae Adams, and the Pacheco thing's up in the air. This is dirty. Take all of the other things out of it. Right now, would you trade Rashad White for Devontae Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's how I answer the question, because you're gonna get Devontae Adams, and then you get Pacheco at some point, which will come in a playoff push, hopefully.
Here's the scenario of how it's going to play out. Pretty soon, Aaron Rodgers is going to ass hammer Devontae Adams with about fucking 15, 18 targets a game. The guy who's going to fucking benefit from that is Garrett Wilson. His targets might go down, but he's going to start catching wide open passes downfield. I think that will help them. That will help them immensely. And Breece Hall. Think about it. Think about it right now. They've been able to use Breece Hall. This guy's been fucking doing what he's doing with virtually Garrett Wilson, and that's it.
I agree.
So, I mean, what are you going to do when you actually put 2 guys that are very viable outside to pull some of them fucking defensive backs back into the secondary? That's going to help him big time. So whoever's got Breece Hall, better fucking hang on to him, because he's going to be a monster down that stretch, no matter how fucking hard their schedule's going to be.
Who are you starting this week? Sam Darnold at Los Angeles or Pat Mahomes at Las Vegas? Also take into account here, Pat Mahomes is having a historically bad fantasy year.
I think Darnold.
Mahomes is currently quarterback 22. Darnold is quarterback 15.
I would start Darnold.
Zola?
I'll bite. I'll start Mahomes because I think he's going to be eager to open up the pass game against a bad team. They owe the Raiders for the Christmas Day debacle last year. And he's got Hopkins. I think he's going to want to break. It's similar to when Josh Allen got Cooper. I think that Mahomes is going to want to break Hopkins in this week, and he's going to do it.
Anything I take that?
No?
Okay, let's jump to the NFC playoff picture then. We have the NFC East: Washington, Philadelphia, Dallas, and the Giants. Can we write the Giants out of this, please?
Yes.
Think so?
Yes, they're 2-5.
So?
the NFC North has four teams over 500.
Okay.
Dallas is 3-3, Philly's 4-2, Washington's 5-2. Can Washington hold off Philadelphia and Dallas? Jaden Daniels might miss this week.
If he's healthy, yeah. The question is he going to be healthy enough to do it?
Can I tell you something? I think the Eagles ultimately win this division.
I was just going to say I think Philadelphia backdoor wins this division and
think they-
saves Nick Sirianni's job.
And I don't think
much
they're
to your
good.
disliking.
I don't think they're that good. I just think that they have the experience down the stretch to manage some of these games to where they can win the division because they're 4-2.
And they're going to get healthy too.
They're going to get healthy. They're 4-2, and things have not looked good right now.
Right.
So there's nowhere to go but up. They could be the dysfunctional Philly team from down the stretch that was 9-0 and it hadn't looked good, and then they'd collapse. But I think Philly ends up winning division. But I do think there's a very good shot the Commanders get in.
Do we think Washington holds off Dallas?
Yeah.
For second place.
Yes.
It's a 2-game lead currently.
Yes. I'd have to see it. Dallas is very in it. Could win the division. Relying on a lot to get there. We'd have to see a lot.
NFC West, which is an absolute mess right now. The Rams are 2-4, Frisco's 3-4, Arizona's 3-4, Seattle's 4-3. It sounds like the Rams are selling.
Yeah.
There's rumors about Stafford going to Minnesota.
No. That was completely debunked. Completely debunked. One idiot reporter trying to make a name for himself said that. But Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. I think the Rams know that they don't have the meat to make a playoff run.
You want my hot take here?
Yeah.
I don't know who it is. I don't know which team it is. This division, who had a shot to get like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 teams in, will only get 1 team.
I agree.
Whoever wins the division gets in. San Francisco's the most talented. The Cardinals have a bunch of question marks. The Seahawks are playing the best ball. It's going to be one of those 3 teams. But
I agree.
If
one
you
of
had to
those
pick
teams-
it now, who is it?
the Niners.
I think Seattle.
I'm gonna go with
I'm going to go with Seattle.
I'll play the devil's advocate and go Arizona.
Yeah, whatever.
Miraculous comeback.
This is our NFC South from last year.
Correct. Now, speaking of the NFC South, Atlanta and Tampa are tied at 4-3. Obviously, Tampa had some devastating injuries on Monday night. New Orleans 2-5. In or out?
Out, 100%.
Carr's back this week.
Carr is supposed to play this week. There's no Rashid Shaheed.
Okay.
Carolina's dead.
Carolina's
Yeah,
dead.
Carolina's out.
I think the Saints are dead at 2-5. They've
I'm-
lost 5 in a row.
I'm tending to agree with you because they've lost 5 in a row. It's just been a debacle. Can Tampa hold pace with Atlanta with the injuries that they've sustained? I don't think so, personally.
I don't either.
Unless
I don't
somebody
either.
steps up. You don't know.
They seem to be losing a lot of games as of late too. Like 3 of their 3 losses have come in the last 4 games.
Which is the tough part of their schedule. They got an
Yeah.
easy schedule
But
going
Atlanta
down.
looked
they got
really
an
bad
easy
last
schedule
week,
going
too.
down
I know, but
the ass end.
they've lost to the team that they're chasing, and I think they
Yeah.
play this week, right? Atlanta and Tampa.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They play this week,
the
so
second one.
so Tampa could. It's a 2-game swing right there. You know, you take a loss and the other team gets a win. I think ultimately because of how stacked the North is, and even though the records don't show it for the East, I still think 2 East teams get in. I can only see one team getting in, and I think it's the division. Obviously, it's the division winner. I think the Falcons end up being the division winner here.
And then we have the North, where every single team in the North currently has a better win percentage than every team in the South and the West. Chicago's at the bottom at 4-2. Green Bay's 5-2. Minnesota and Detroit are both 5-1.
I think all 3 of the top 3 teams get in. Lions, Packers, Vikings, all get in.
So for intensive purposes, let's say Detroit wins the division. And the first 2 wild card spots are taken by Minnesota and Green Bay.
Yeah.
Let's say, let's get cute and say Seattle wins the West, Atlanta wins the South, and Philadelphia wins the East.
I think East 2 gets in over the Bears.
Yeah.
So you think Washington, hypothetically, as the number 2 team,
Either them or Dallas gets over the
Because
over Chicago.
East 2 is going to finish with 10, maybe even 11 wins. At least 10 wins. I think the Bears get to 9. I think it'll be tough to get to 10. You want the ultimate test on Bears versus East? Bears Commanders this weekend.
Yeah.
Great game. I disagree with you guys. I think Jaden Daniels ends up playing, and I think it's just too good. It's too good of a matchup. And I think we get to see both those kids ball out, and I think it's going to be really cool to watch. 2 number 1 overall Heisman.
So we don't think 2 teams from the South get in or 2 teams from the West.
No.
So it's, I mean, at this point, it's going to be very hard for Minnesota not to catch a playoff spot. Even if they fall apart to an extent, it's hard for them not to catch a playoff spot at 5-1.
No, I disagree. So I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? I think Minnesota's good. I still think they're good enough to maybe even win the division, right? They're getting Hawkinson back. I still think Minnesota's very good. That being said, they could, they could fold. Like, they could be bad. They could get caught. I think they're good enough to win the division, but they could get jumped by the Packers, right? The Packers are playing better ball. So
Their next 4,
it's easy.
they go the Rams, Indy, Jacksonville, Tennessee, then Chicago, Arizona, Atlanta, Chicago.
They're going to lose one of those games.
One of the next 4.
One of the next 4.
They'll probably lose to Indy.
They could lose tomorrow. They could lose to the Rams tomorrow.
They could lose to the Rams tomorrow. They could. And then that brings up question with the Rams. The Rams at 3-4, sitting in second place in their division.
Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
Well, they're selling.
Well, they're
While they're
actually
selling.
Any more questions on TikTok before we end?
No.
I think
We have to
cleared-
pick that. We should pick the Thursday game.
We do have to pick the Thursday game, so that's a great spot to end is with the Rams and Vikings. Thursday Night Football, the Vikings are heading to SoFi to play the Rams. Minnesota's a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 48. Uncle Sam.
I'm going to take the Vikings in the over.
You have a prop for us?
Yeah, actually, I do. Justin Jefferson, anytime touchdown.
Oh, come on. You never take the easy way out.
There you go.
Zolo?
I really want to believe in that Lions curse. I really want to believe in the. I think Minnesota's really good, and they're gonna buck this. Hawkinson's questionable.
They were embarrassed at home. They're going to come back hard, dude.
Yeah, but
They're going to come back hard.
This is my thing. You know what this game is? This is teacher versus the student. In McVay versus O'Connell, and O'Connell he's Rams. He's that system, and one would think he's going to know how to prep for it, and he's going to help Flores prep for it. Rams are getting Cooper Kupp back. By the way, I like Cooper Kupp if you can get him over 4.5. Let's see if it's more than that. If he's even on there.
Think he's going to play if he's being traded?
He's playing.
Okay.
He's playing.
The parting. This will be the parting gift. Cooper Kupp,
Yeah.
6.5 receptions.
Oh, that's tough. But yeah, fuck it. Do it. Cooper Kupp over 6.5. I like Stafford to throw the hell out of the ball because that's how they're going to win this game. So Stafford, let's go over his attempts. They're at 33.5. I like Stafford over 33.5 pass attempts. I think he was watching Goff pick this defense apart the other day, and he's licking his chops. But I'm going with the I'm going with the Vikings to win. I just think they're a better team. I think they're a significantly better team. Vikings to win.
The difference is the offensive line between the Lions and the Rams are 2 different fucking animals.
Vikings to win. Vikings to cover the -3 and give me the over in that one. Let's get some points tomorrow. Thursday night games have been good this year outside of 1 or 2 of them.
Give me Rams money line. I'll take the over as well. I'm going to go Tutu Atwell over 38.5 yards. And then I'm going to parlay both running backs as anytime touchdown scores.
Hell yeah.
Kyren Williams and Aaron Jones, both to score. Bruce, nice of you to join us. Here we go.
I agree. I'm going with the Rams.
And
What was it?
I believe it's 48.5. Is that what I just said? Because you don't fucking listen.
You're right. Let's go with the over
Here we go.
and a Tutu Atwell anytime.
Why'd you hop on my tutu train?
You stole that. I was
Tutu.
totally taking that.
Oh, yeah.
I had that before you even thought.
Whatever.
When you said the game, I was thinking, Tutu Atwell.
Anything to add?
Touchdown.
Zolo, anything to add?
Yeah, I got one thing to add.
Go ahead.
Harold Landry.
the third.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure to check us out on YouTube and remember to click subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when we go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, sometime around 5. We're also live on TikTok now where you can join us for Fantasy Frenzy every Wednesday and ask us all your fantasy questions. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back on Friday.